that's not necessarily what Nostrodamus was getting at, and this is where I think that people want to sit down and read the books for themselves and not allow themselves to be told by third-hand people like the History Channel or people like me, for example, what it is or it is not. What else did I write down here now? Right, just bear with me a second. I know this is a bit of a head peck because you want to be hearing what I'm saying, or maybe you don't, in which case I may have wasted your time and you've walked away from this video. Basically, if I went back to the Nazi thing, basically, some people will say that's ridiculous, right? Okay, how can the Third Reich even exist? That was something that happened in the Second World War. Well, not if the plan is aimed at corporate gain and investing that money into corporations and trying to buy out the corporate side of industry. It's just changing the war from like a physical war into a psychological war, because not so much a psychological war, but a war over business. Basically, if they have dominance in the corporate sector, they basically rebuild their Third Reich, because they're basically gaining money and power through the means of business instead of the means of fighting and trying to fight a war. What was it I wrote here now, right? Because, if you think about it, like, say, the scientists, after the Second World War, they'd have been distributed to Russia, England, America, and they would have had plans to manipulate via the means of, like, a European Parliament, which, again, this is what this other video on YouTube was pointing out. If I can remember it, I'll post the link on this side of the video. And business dominance in the corporate sector, which would basically mean, like I said before, the war had changed from a physical force into one of not so much a psychological but a corporate nature. The psychological nature would come in through the manipulation of things like the European Parliament. The Fourth Reich would then arise from the ashes under the guise of the British, Russian and Americans and multiple other nations as well as religions, whilst the rest of the world unknowingly sleepwalked into the final solution being that that's when they could implement population control and all the rest of it via the work they've done through the corporate assets. And it wouldn't be to say that the German people themselves would know that this was happening. The German people wouldn't necessarily know it at all. Because, if they did, the final solution could never come to be. It just never worked, because people would blow the bloody whistle straight away. And, it's not easy to prove, and the only reference, like I was saying before, that I would be able to use was third-hand information. However, after analysing the data over a few sources, I don't see this to be an unrealistic plan. I'm going a bit back and two here, so I'm sorry about this if it's confusing you. It's a bit difficult for me because, like I say, this is the reason I don't do many blogs. I can't really be doing with it, but I have to throw these ideas out in the wind. Some people may make sense of it, some people might not, but those that do, take the information and look for it. You look into it yourselves. You might find something that I don't know, which is probably likely because I just my area is music. This is why I don't do blogs. This is why I don't do I do writing better than I do these videos, because quite frankly I hate talking to a bloody camera. I've got to be honest. I'm not exactly that sort of person. It moves on to the next bit then. The next part of that quatrain, watering the wells and fountains with poison. Well, this can refer to fluoride and the likes of fluoride. The way that they've tried putting fluoride and other medication into our water supplies, which even in Britain they tried to do not so long ago. I remember the news were sort of going on about it, turning around and saying, right, well, we think it would be good if we put fluoride in the water because it would be good for the people, because people don't brush their teeth, don't they? I mean, you know, then again, if you've got fluoride in the toothpaste, I mean, is it surprising that some people don't brush them all the time? Anyway, the other point to that, they were also going on about the way, this is actually another good point, actually. I've written it down at the bottom here for some reason, I don't know why, but going back to the original point that I made about the first part, the other point that the History Channel liked to make was, maybe Nostrodamus was insinuating that we were being invaded by Muslims and all the rest of it, and we can see that through immigration. Again, that could be another diversion to what's really going on with the likes of the Bilderbergs and God knows what else that's going on in the world. But anyway, as far as the second part that I was saying, watering the wells and the fountains of poison could refer to fluoride, and the likes of the fact that they tried to fluoridate our waters. You know, not necessarily just the fact that the Twin Towers have fallen down into its own path and probably poison the waters. I mean, it could mean both things. This last part of that, the human devourers of strength of the West, actually supports what I'm saying about the first part, i.e. that under the guise of another religion or group, these people are working to remove the power from the hands of Western countries, just like the EU are trying to do to England, and like George Bush did when he was signing away the rights and liberties of the United States. So, you know, it's like this country, we've got like freedom of speech issues and, you know, the political correctness crap that's going on. Personally, I don't believe in it, and they can shove it up their arse, but, you know, there's a lot of people that do believe in it, and even they're starting to get to the point now where they've had enough. Actually, I think that point went quite a while ago, but, you know, it's a case of getting people to the point where they're willing to get off their arse and do something, which seems to be very difficult these days. I mean, you only have to sing a song about something like that and people look at you funny. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I should know, because that's basically what I am, a songwriter. Or at least that's what I do nowadays, anyway. And anyway, there's a lot more to that documentary than that, but I'm going to leave it at that for now, because I'm really not quite sure where to go with this just yet. So, I'm sorry if this has been a bit of a head peck to some people out there. I just hope you've got some kind of understanding of what analysis I'm trying to put across over that documentary. If not, never mind, it's been a waste of time.